I'm here in the legendary study of the famous fictional dog detective Sherlock Bones of 221B Barker Street. Mr. Bones, you're here to teach me about using details from a text to make inferences, aren't you?
Yes, my boy. It's simplicity itself. But first, let me deduce a few things about you, shall I?
Well, Mr. Bones, we're trying to do this about writing, not about people, so...
Give me your hand.
Ah!
You like to cook, you have a nervous disposition, and you work for Khan Academy.
Now, how did you know that?
You have a callus on your finger from how you hold a knife. Your fingernails are bitten, not clipped. And your messenger bag says Khan Academy.
Well, and I told you who I was before I showed up.
That too.
But what does this have to do with reading a book?
I correctly deduced several truths about your person based on clues, my good David. Indeed, all inference is making sense of clues. When you read a story, you are constantly making inferences.
I see. Okay, I'll read a passage and then see what I can make of it. An hour later, thick smoke poured up the stairs. The smoke detector screamed, and I could hear Uncle Paleo stumbling around with the fire extinguisher. When he came upstairs afterward, his footsteps sounded slow and heavy. He was a wreck. Broken glasses, black smudges on his face, and singed hair. Okay, so I can surmise that there was some kind of fire or explosion downstairs where the character Uncle Paleo was.
How do you know?
Well, his hair was singed, that's another word for burned, and his face was covered in black smudges, like you'd get from soot from a fire. And there was all the smoke, and the smoke detector went off.
And there is also the matter of the fire extinguisher.
Also that.
I see something else in that passage too.
What's that, Mr. Bones?
Uncle Paleo was exhausted by putting out the fire.
Huh? How can you tell? Where does it say that?
Well, it doesn't. That's inference, my lad. Note here how it says, his footsteps sounded slow and heavy. Why might that be?
He stepped in something sticky. No, he's wearing shoes made of lead.
Well, those are indeed possible explanations, but you want to think of the most likely option.
He was running around to put the fire out, and it made him tired.
So, you were reading between the lines, were you? Drawing conclusions from the text?
I was! So we know for sure Uncle Paleo was tired, right?
We do not, sir!
Oh!
An inference is only one possible conclusion, but is not the only conclusion.
So what are we to do?
The more clues you discover, the stronger your inferences will become. You have to look at what you already know about a character, about the setting of the story, the events of a story's plot, and piece it together from there. You know that fires create lots of black dust or soot, so it strengthens your argument in favor of a fire. And it's background knowledge like that about the way the world works that will serve you as a reader and as a maker of inferences. Apply what you know to the world of the story and make inferences based on that.
And then I can become the world's greatest consulting detective?
You can become like the world's 50th greatest consulting detective. Top of the heap's rather full, I'm afraid.
Well, thank you for your time today, Mr. Bones. Best of luck with your casework.
Thank you. I shan't need it.
You can learn anything. David out.
And we are going to keep learning about making inferences. Today we're going to be looking at inferences and not just making inferences, but being able to support them with details from the text. You know, you do make inferences every day. Let's say that you tell a joke to your family and they look at you in confusion and they shrug your shoulders. Well, you make an inference or an educated guess. They probably didn't get the joke, right? And so you used clues from what they did to figure out that they didn't understand what joke you were telling. They had a look of confusion. They shrugged their shoulders. You also know that based on your background knowledge, the people who don't understand something maybe shrug their shoulders and look at you confused. But you also know that some people don't have the same sense of humor as you do, and so they may not even get the joke. Take a look at this cartoon. What's going on in the minds of the characters of this cartoon? And let's see if we can figure out what these characters are thinking, right? What's cooking, she says, as maybe the brother or the husband or the gentleman friend is cooking dinner there. And he says, it's a new recipe. Tell me what you think. What do you think she thinks? Well, based on everything that I'm seeing, there are some details that support the inference that I can infer that this lady character does not enjoy what she just put in her mouth. It could be that one of the details that I know is that she is making a scrunched up face. Her hand might have, her hand looks a little bit odd. She's not relaxed. Her body is real tense. She has a shocked kind of look on her face. And then he looks very confused, doesn't he? So those details support my inference that she maybe doesn't like it. There could be another inference. I could infer that the food was hot and maybe it burned her, right? Because I can make that inference from the detail that shows me that he was cooking on the pot and there's little steam squiggles coming up from the spoon. So she could have been burned. I can infer that the character may have suffered a burn because the food was steaming on the spoon and she is showing some kind of look of discomfort. Okay, both of those inferences make sense, right? Remember, an inference is an educated guess. It may not be right, but it is still based on evidence in the text. Let's take a look at this story together. Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. And as we read this, I want to see if we can answer, why is Sir Gawain so quick to protect King Arthur? What details in the story tell us that he is quick to do that and why he's quick to do that? Sir Gawain and the Green Knight. The mysterious Green Knight issued a challenge to the Knights of the Round Table. He would grant any knight a single stroke with his green axe against his neck if that knight would return the favor in 1 year. King Arthur accepted, but Sir Gawain, protecting his king, offered to take his place. And with a mighty swing, Sir Gawain sliced off the Green Knight's head. But the Green Knight, still very much alive, stood and picked up his own head. He reminded Sir Gawain that they had an appointment in 1 year, and he rode quickly away on his horse. I can infer that Sir Gawain did want to, was quick to protect King Arthur. And it says that. We don't have to infer that. It was, King Arthur accepted, but Sir Gawain, protecting his king, offered to take his place. The question is, why is Sir Gawain so quick to protect the king? Well, we know that, let's take this off. We know that the Green Knight is described as mysterious, and this Green Knight has this challenge, and it's a weird challenge, right? We also know that axes are dangerous, and seriously, a person could not survive if his or her head were really chopped off. So we could probably infer that the reason why Sir Gawain took up the challenge is because Sir Gawain didn't want King Arthur to be harmed. I can infer that Sir Gawain was quick to protect the king because he knew the challenge would be dangerous and he is protective. Right? The text told us that he took the king's place, right? And so we can make that inference. Let's see what happens in the next part of the story. Let's see what happens. 1 year later, as he had promised, the honorable Sir Gawain met the Green Knight. Sir Gawain bent to receive the blow from the axe. At the stroke of the axe, Gawain flinched. "Are you afraid?" asked the Green Knight. "Get on with the business," Sir Gawain snapped. Again the Green Knight raised his axe. He took aim and swung, but Sir Gawain was unharmed. Surely that will not be the end of it, Sir Gawain thought, as he readied himself again. But the Green Knight presented Gawain with his great axe, bowed low to the ground in respect, and rode away. Wow. Which detail from the story best helps you understand why the Green Knight shows Sir Gawain respect? Why does he respect Sir Gawain so much? Now, I'm going to infer that he respects Sir Gawain because of his courage and his bravery, because he says, even though Gawain flinches, the Green Knight says, "Are you afraid?" And Sir Gawain says, "Get on with the business. Go ahead and do it. Cut my head off if you want to." And maybe that probably impressed the Green Knight. So let's see. At the stroke of the axe, Gawain flinched. No, because flinching means that he did have a little bit of fear. Again, the Green Knight raised his axe. Well, that doesn't really tell me why the Green Knight shows Sir Gawain respect. As he had promised, Honorable Sir Gawain met the Green Knight. Maybe that one. But the Green Knight presented Sir Gawain with his axe and rode away. That one really doesn't tell me why. This one might. And I want to say that the reason that I like this answer is because Honorable Sir Gawain met the Green Knight as he had promised. Sir Gawain knew that he was about to get his head chopped off. That was the challenge, right? But he came anyway. And so I think that's probably why the Green Knight showed Sir Gawain the respect that he deserved, because he faced death. He could have ran away from it, but he didn't. He came and he faced it. And so right here, I can probably take that information from the passage and make my inference. Let's do it. I'm going to make my inference. I can say, I can infer that the Green Knight respected Sir Gawain because Sir Gawain kept his promise despite the fact that meeting the Green Knight meant sure death. He did. He kept his promise anyway. He was brave. He was fearless. Now, one of the things that I want you to take a close look at is that I have written I can infer here. And you know what? I can actually add another piece of information to this to show that I'm also using supporting details from the text. Not only can I say I can infer and then give my inference, but I can say this. I can infer that the Green Knight respected Sir Gawain because, and then you know what I can add? I can add the text said that Sir Gawain kept his promise despite the fact that meeting the Green Knight meant sure death. I love this right here because I am giving you a clear picture that I didn't just come up with that idea on my own. I came up with that based on the text. He had kept his promise. 1 year later, as he promised, Honorable Sir Gawain met the Green Knight. And then using this sentence frame makes my sentence make more sense. Because now not only do I give you my inference, but I also give you the evidence from the text. I like that. And you're gonna have the opportunity to use those same kind of sentence starters on your own work. So today you are going to read Galahad and the Grail Quest. By the way, these stories all come from like the Round Table and King Arthur. And you're going to have 2 multiple choice questions. But then down here on question number 3, you're going to have to explain why Galahad was the only knight worthy of fully witnessing the Holy Grail. And you need to support your inference with 2 details from the passage. So here are some sentence starters that I suggest that you use. These sentence starters, I expect you to use these. Take these. These are like freebies from me, okay? So the text says blank. Therefore, my inference is that blank. The text says that blank. You give a detail there. And so my inference is blank, okay? You can also say something like this. So you could take this question that you're given there. Galahad was the only knight worthy of fully witnessing the Holy Grail because and then you tell me why he was the only one that should have been able to see the Holy Grail, right? And then you could also say, I know this because in the text it said, and then you can tell me what the text said. You can then say, the text also said, and there you have a great start to your explanation as to why Galahad was the one worthy of witnessing the Holy Grail. So remember to use these phrases like in the text, or the text says, or the author said, and also explain what your inference is. My inference is that he was worthy of witnessing the Holy Grail because, okay? So use those sentence starters. Don't be afraid to use those. Make them yours and use them inside your answers today. Now, you're also going to read the story of Sir Arthur and the Sword, and you will have another place right down here on slide number 8 where you are going to explain your inference with 2 details in the story again, okay? So remember to use those sentence starters, and I look forward to your answers on using details to support inferences in literary text.